So in this video, we are going to be looking into the introduction to Bootstrap and how to import Bootstrap into your HTML. So let's first of all begin by writing our first HTML, and let's use H1 here, and we say hello world. Let's run this on the browser, and this is what we have, hello world. Now take note of the font and the color here. Okay, now let's go to getbootstrap.com. So the getbootstrap.com is the official Bootstrap website where you can see all the Bootstrap documentation and Bootstrap examples. So what is Bootstrap? As a beginner, you need to understand what Bootstrap is and what it is used for. So Bootstrap is the fastest way to achieve your design or a responsive design. So Bootstrap is a CSS framework that enables you to, make your design a website without having to write any single line of CSS. Bootstrap powers all the components and all other customizable utilities that you can use to beautify your website without writing any any CSS. Bootstrap does not restrict you from what you can do. You can as well write your CSS and include Bootstrap to it, or customize Bootstrap, because actually Bootstrap is an open source CSS framework, which means that you have all the legal rights to update or customize Bootstrap according to how you need your job to be like. Okay, so to learn Bootstrap, we are going to be using the Bootstrap documentation, which we get from the getbootstrap.com, and as well we are going to be also getting that from the W3 schools. So what we do is, how do we import this Bootstrap and begin to use it to do our job? So to do that, you can come down here. So these are the ways we can install Bootstrap. We can install Bootstrap locally, and we can also install it using the CDN. So to install it locally, we can do that with some package managers like npm or pip, or even gem or yarn. So we can use that to install it locally into our project, or you can also download the Bootstrap. You can also download Bootstrap directly by, if I go to the documentation here, you can see download Bootstrap, and I can actually download compiled CSS and JS and include it into my project. But for this particular lesson, we shall be doing this through the CDN. So CDN means Content Delivery Network. So it helps to deliver CSS and JS into our project. So what I will do is, I will come here in the CDN. I am going to click to copy. So this is the CSS of Bootstrap. I have copied. Now take it to this, my IDE, and just the same way we do this, we put our CSS, we have to paste it there. And for the JS, it is very good to always place the JS files just before the body ending tag. So we do the same thing. We copy the JS and come back to our IDE and paste it. Now, let us visit that website back. You can see now that the font has changed and the styling also has changed. Okay, now let's remove this again so that you can see it. So this is the default HTML. You can see we have default margin here and here and here. We have default margins and default paddings. But immediately we had Bootstrap, the styling changed. So this is because Bootstrap comes with their own styling and their own fonts. All right. Now, taking our lesson from the W3 schools, Bootstrap utilizes classes to style your project components. So they divide all the designs into different components. So when I say components, I meant things like button, things like navigation, things like typography, footer, padding, margin, all the different aspects of your website, the responsiveness of your website, everything has been handled by Bootstrap using the classes. Now, for Bootstrap coloring, which is going to be the next topic, is Bootstrap coloring. So how do we color our text? How do we color our background? How do we color our items in Bootstrap? How do we give it a color? Now, there is no style without colors. So how do we give colors? So by default, Bootstrap utilizes the color classes. Let's go to the documentation. Bootstrap utilizes some color classes like the primary, secondary, tertiary, and all that. So we can see it here, secondary color. So this is the color for secondary. If you look closely at this color, you see that this is a gray color, a grayish color. Let me actually make this color a little nicer. So you can see what color we have as the secondary color, and this is another color which is primary. So primary color is the default blue, and then the success color is green, danger color is red, warning color is yellow, info color is light blue, light is white, but not whiter than white, dark is black. We have all these colors. So we have secondary, which is gray, we have primary, which is blue, we have info, which is light blue, we have success, which is green, we have warning, which is yellow, we have danger, which is red, and these are we have light, and then which is white, and we have dark, which is black. So these are the color classes, Now we are working on text, which is typography. We are working on text, and our text is going to take the class of text followed by the class of the color, since we want to add a color. So to do that, we come to this HTML attribute, which is h1, and we add a color to it, a class to it. And to add a class to it, we first of all say text, because we are working on text, and then we put dash, and then whichever color we want to add to it. So if we want to add, make it a blue color, we want to add primary. And this is going to take a blue color. Let's have another typography. So this is some paragraphs. Let's make this paragraph to have red color. So we are going to put a class, and this class is going to take text, because we are working on text, dash. If it is red, it's going to be danger. So this will take red color. Let's do more. If, for instance, we have H2, and this H2 says, welcome to our website, and we want to give this H2 a color of green color, so it's going to take class and then text dash. Since green is success, we are going to use success, and this is going to give us green, as well as other colors that we can achieve by replacing this. If we want secondary color, which is gray, is going to be secondary, and this is going to take grayish color. If we want a black color, it's going to be text dash dark, and it's going to take a black color. If we want a yellow color, it's going to be text dash warning, and it's going to take a yellow color. Now this is how we can work with colors. Now we can do a lot by adding other things to spice this thing up. For instance, we want to change the background of the H1. We want to give it a background color. Now to give a black background, or to do a background, we use the class called BG. So BG class is for the background. So we can also add the color classes to the BG. So what do I mean? So I can add it here by saying that this is going to be BG for the background dash. If I want a dark background or black background, I am going to say dark. And this is going to give it a background color of black. If I want the welcome to our website to have a red background, I am going to come to this place and add BG dash danger, and this is going to take red background. So we use BG class for working on the background, and then we can append or add the color classes to them to make them what we want them to be. That is what we have under the coloring. Now the next lesson that we'll be looking into is what we call the Bootstrap theme or theme coloring. So what is a theme? Now when you move into a particular website, the overall general design is what we call theme, or the design pattern, the color design pattern. So there are times when you visit a website, you see some buttons to toggle light mode or dark mode. I think we should have it on this W3 school here, so you can have this. So for this one, at this point now, we have this website is in light theme or white theme, which is what you call light mode and dark mode. So we have light theme and dark theme. These are what we call light mode and dark mode, just as we can toggle it here and toggle it back here. These are light mode and dark mode. So these are themes, the light theme and the dark theme. Okay, so let's move back to our work, and let's see how we can change the Bootstrap theme colors. Okay, so to change theme colors, we can actually target the HTML, because HTML is the overall body of this website. And targeting the HTML, what we do is we add the attribute that is called data-bs theme, data-bs theme equals, let's use dark. So we have two modes, and you can see that here every part of this website has already taken a dark color. And if you want it to be the light theme, it's going to be databs dash theme equals light. So these are the two themes we have currently on Bootstrap that you can use. So we can actually use this thing to switch to dark mode and light mode, utilizing stuffs like JavaScript to control when the button is clicked and when the button is not clicked. So that is it. Now we can also move this database theme, we can move it into the body, and this is going to work perfectly as it does. Let's change to dark. You can see it is working perfectly, and this is because everything you see in a website is from the body. Every single thing that you see in a website is from the body. So when you do this on the body, it will actually also work. So that's what Bootstrap theme is all about. So let's see, that's the color mode. You can see the dark mode, and then you can see how it works. You can read these things when you have your time. Okay, all right, let's move to W3 schools. And actually we need to change our website back from dark to light. So let's move to typographies. So whenever we are talking about typography, we are actually talking about the text or the fonts. So for the text, we can handle the text. Already we have seen how we can add colors to the text, add background to components. We now can do some other things to text, like moving the text alignment from left to right to center. Okay, so if we want to move this text to the left, now Bootstrap moves by utilizing what we call start, center, and end. Start, center, and end. For the start is the left alignment, center is the center alignment, and then end is the right alignment. So if we want this text to move to the right side of this page, which is this place, then we have to add the class of text, since we are working on text, dash, and then end is going to be the right side, and this text will automatically move to the right side. if we want to move it to the center, it's going to be text dash center, and this is going to be centered. Now Bootstrap is responsive, meaning that whatever we do here has taken their responsive natures. We can do a whole lot of things with Bootstrap. Now I can recreate this same hello world using the class instead of using this tag h1. So the h classes does the same thing as the heading tags. So the heading tag are the h1 to h6. The h1 is the biggest heading, followed by h2, h3, h4, h5, and finally h6 is the smallest heading. Now if we want to achieve the same thing with Bootstrap, we use the class that is called the h1 to h6 class. So, and to do this, let's say hello world so that we can look into this. And you see, this is exactly the same size with the hello world that we have here. Now let's move this to the center and see the comparison. So we can do text dash center so that we can see the comparison. And let's give it a background bg dash dark, and then text dash warning. Now we are comparing. Look at this. You can see that this is exactly the same design, even though we didn't use the same tag. And this is because of the fact that Bootstrap is using the same exact design, the same principle that the tag is implementing on this HTML. Bootstrap is also doing that, and it is very responsive. As the device is getting bigger, it is getting bigger. As the device is getting smaller, it is also getting smaller to fit into whichever screen size. So we can change to H1, H2, H3, and so on, and they will give us exact design of that particular element, as you can see here. If we change this back to H3 and move this one as well to H3, they will give us exact design. So this is the Bootstrap heading. And the next thing we'll be looking into is a Bootstrap display. Now, how do we achieve display, and what is the difference between display and heading? So for the display, display headings are used to stand out more than normal heading. They are larger, they have larger fonts and lighter font weight. So their font sizes are very large, but they have lighter font weight. So they are not as bold as the text heading, the heading. So if you look at the display one, you see how big it is, and look at the H1, you see how bold it is. So this one stands out more, even though it doesn't have that larger font weight. So how do we achieve that? I am going to leave this one. What I'm going to do is I am going to change this class to display dash 1. So display has from 1 to 6, just as the H1 has from 1 to 6. If you look at this, you see that it stands out even more because people can see it more. It is very big, but not that bold. That's the difference between the heading of H1 and the display heading of H1. So to get this type of thing, you just have to use the class display-1. If I want it to be smaller, we can use display-2, display-3, display-4, display-5, display-6. So you can see that display 6 is the smallest display class that we can have. Let's look at other aspects of typography. So we can also use mark, the mark class with a yellow background color and some padding. So if you mark a text, it is going to have a yellow background with some text, some text. Okay, let's see how this thing appears on. You can see this place has a light yellow background. Now let's have a paragraph. Let's have a paragraph with some lorem 12. Okay, so let us highlight the ipsum dolo. Now this is where we can get the ipsum dolo, and what we will do is we can use span, and then we place the whatever text that we want to highlight inside the span. Nothing will happen actually, but what we will do is we have to add the class of mark to it, and you can see what we have here. It has this yellow background, and if we turn the theme mode to dark, you're going to see it even brighter. You can see what we have there. So this is what we can do with the class mark. We have other classes like the abbreviate classes. We also have the block quotes. We have other ones that you can look into. So for instance, we have lead, which makes the paragraph stands out. We have text start, which indicates left align text. Text break, prevent long text from breaking layout. Text centered, which indicates center alignment text. And other things like text end, text wrap. Now, but I have some certain things that I want us to look into, which is text lowercase, text uppercase, and text capitalized. So let's look at these ones before we go off from here. All right, so you can see that this thing appears to be in small letter. If I want to turn them into capital letters, I need to add a class called text dash uppercase. So once I do this, everything within this particular class will become a capital letter. If I use text capitalized, the first word, the first letter of the word becomes capital letter. So let's use capitalize. So you can see that the first letter of all the words are now capital. We can use text lowercase, and they move back to lower case letters. So So we use uppercase to turn all the text there into uppercase letters, then lowercase turns them into lowercase letters, while capitalize we turn all the first words or the first letter of all the words into capital letters, and that is the capitalize. So this is all I'll be talking for the typography. In the next lesson, we are going to be looking into containers, padding and margin, and then grid. Make sure to subscribe to this channel. Your subscription is a form of encouragement to me. It boosts my morale to do more videos. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you in the next episode.